Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to that lemon light city, sweet Hope, Chicago. 224 446. Come on, baby, now get your business fixed. Come on, honey, don't you?
I may be Marty Levinson, and I may be Rabbi Doug, but either way, you're watching the Northtown News Magazine show.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine. Your host, Avi Meyer, and the greatest cameraman of all, Sonny Hersh.
Hail Levinson! Thank you so much, Marty. Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of the Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a production of Sonny Hersh and myself. And even though this is the third show you're going to see with this new setup, it's the first one we're actually taping with a two-camera setup. Thank you so much, Sonny, for arranging all this. We really appreciate it. Want to remind you to check out all the upcoming shows and want to see who's been on and see all the shows on the internet. Go to our website at www. You don't have to type in www anymore, ntnm.org. And don't forget to check out all the latest on community policing in our area. If you're in the 24th District, that's West Rogers Park, West Ridge, and Rogers Park at caps24.org. Caps24.org. And that's another website that Sonny Hersh, who is the chairman of the District Advisory Committee of the 24th District, does in his spare time. And speaking of the 24th District, it is my pleasure and privilege to have one of the sector sergeants of the 2410 sector, which is basically West Rogers Park, from Howard to Peterson, and from Kedzie to Ridge, Sergeant David Welbel. Sergeant, how are you?
It's a pleasure, Avi, and let me tell you sound like such a professional.
Oh, thank you so
much. I thought
much.
I was listening to a radio show. I really was.
Well, I appreciate it, and I have done radio, and I actually wish somebody was paying me to do this, but what can I tell you?
Yeah. Terrific. Sounds terrific.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, okay, Sector Sergeant. So basically, that tells me, no, you're not the first Sector Sergeant we've had. Have you ever been on the show before?
Yes, I have. One other time.
Years ago.
Yes, it's been some time.
Okay. Now, what does a Sector Sergeant do?
Well, a district is defined geographically in three different sectors: 10 sector, a 20 sector, and a 30 sector. We are now in the 10 sector, which is the west end of the 24th District.
Right.
It goes from Ridge to Kedzie, from Howard to Peterson, but yet you know that the district goes all the way down to the lakefront.
Right.
Well, the rest of that geography is the 20 sector and the 30 sector. Now, my area of responsibility is the 10th sector, so I'm consequently called the 10th sector sergeant. But I would be called to a scene that happens anywhere on 24, 11, 12, or 13's beat that has of any consequence, and I'm responsible for the guys and the girls that man 24, 11, 12, and 13. So I supervise them. I make sure that everything goes well, the operation runs smooth during my shift of 8 hours, which is from 7 o'clock in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I hand it off to the next sector sergeant.
And that's called the first shift or the second shift?
That's the second watch.
I always confuse that.
Most people do. I think Chicago is the only one that calls their first watch is really our midnight shift.
Yeah.
Starts either at 11 p.m. or at midnight, depending on if it's a late or early car. And then the second watch, cars usually start at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m.
Right.
And the third watch is afternoon, late afternoon, and early evening.
Now, how many officers are there in your command at the time that you're doing the sector?
Well, not only do I have the three sector cars, 24,
so there's
11,
a beat
12,
car
and 13.
patrolling each of the beats.
There's a beat car patrolling each of the beats. We have a foot patrol officer, for example, on the van. Officer Badia, she falls under my purview in my supervision as well as those three cars. We have a parking enforcement car, the traffic car.
Right, I know him.
They fall. Most people don't want to meet the traffic car. Falls under my supervision.
Right.
There could be sector cars that fall under my supervision. If we have the manpower, we tend to supplement the beat cars with these sector cars. And so 2451 might also patrol 2411's beat as sort of a backup.
Oh, that's from the TAC department, the 2450 cars?
That has nothing to do with the TAC team.
Oh, okay.
These are also marked cars.
Oh, okay.
We call them sector cars because, in a sense, they're not the primary car for 2412's beat or 2411's beat. Let me just shut that off.
Sure.
I should have done that before the show.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
We've had much worse, believe me.
Oh, I bet. There we go. I just shut it off.
Okay. Yeah, no, we've had much more interesting ringtones than that. Which
have you? Hope not embarrassing ones, huh?
I hope not. It wasn't to me.
Okay.
But,
all right.
Okay, so yeah.
But there could be for every beat car, if the manpower is there, there should be a sector car in addition to the beat car for every beat, one or maybe two.
Yeah.
We don't always operate fully staffed, unfortunately, because of people either on the medical or people on furlough. People detailed out for certain events.
Right,
all
like
summer
during
we
summer
have details.
festivals, right?
We have in fact Saturday. I'm sorry to say, even though it's Shabbos.
Okay.
I'm detailed to the Puerto Rican Fest in Humboldt Park.
Okay.
So that means I won't be here driving up the streets of Rogers Park or West Rogers Park.
Right.
I'll be there because they need bodies.
Yeah.
So they take X number of bodies from every district, and that's how you get your group handling that particular situation for that day.
Right. Now, as a matter of fact, Commander Ratner was telling me, I guess they're limiting this year how many they take from each district a little more than they used to.
I think what they're trying to do now is try to take people who normally work inside jobs, like at the headquarters buildings.
Right. He was saying that you're taking traffic people in some cases.
Traffic people that they normally did not take in previous years.
Yeah.
Because they realized they were depleting the districts of their manpower.
Yeah.
And, the last thing the department wants to do is put the citizens at risk by not having the police there when the police are needed.
Now, speaking of risk neighborhoods, how safe is our neighborhood? What's your opinion?
I say our neighborhood is relatively very safe.
Yeah.
We got a terrific district commander.
No question.
Who's a
big
personal
fan
friend
of Commander
mine.
Ratner.
He's a great guy, and he's doing a terrific job deploying the troops that he has and utilizing the manpower that we have.
Yeah.
I think because of the very high morale, because of his leadership, I think every officer out there is given 110%.
Right.
So, in a sense, we're getting 1.1 for every one that we
sounds
get.
good.
And consequently, I think the 24th District is operating very, very well.
No, I know I'm pleased. Well, I'm a little prejudiced. I happen to be as you know, I'm the beat facilitator for 2412.
Yes.
And of course, Sonny Hersh behind our camera, besides for being chairman of the District Advisory Committee, is 2413. By the way, we're covered because you also run the meetings at 2411.
2411.
Not to mention you supervise the whole 10 sector every morning.
Yes.
So, by the way, one thing I should mention also, but crime generally is down. Just so in clear terms, I mean, crime has been, at least in my beat, it's been pretty slow, which I kind of like.
Crime is down statistically. I see the printouts every month.
Yeah.
And it depends on what category you're looking at. If you're looking at violent crimes, property crimes,
Right,
etc.
You could have one crime that'll spike things, like there was a triple homicide in my beat that kind of messed up the stats for the year.
Yes, I handled that one, by the way. So when you have it could really skew the figures. So you have to realize what you're looking at.
Yeah.
So if we didn't have a homicide last year, but we had 3 in that one incident.
Yeah, we're up 3
now we're up
zillion%.
300%. Yeah. So you got to look at the real numbers in order to discern what you really have.
Right. Now, speaking of homicides and numbers, you were a recipient. Now, there's awards we give to officers every year here, which are pretty prestigious awards, but you were a recipient of something that's considered like one of the 1 or 2 biggest awards that a police officer can achieve.
Well, a number of these awards are given out every year, and we did just have a luncheon at the Hilton Hotel where the superintendent and the mayor presented a number of officers with the Award of Valor and other similar type higher awards. and we consider the high awards anything higher than a department commendation. But I was involved in a shooting where, fortunately, the only person that got shot and got hurt was the aggressor, the offender, and everybody else came out unscathed. And that's all I'm really concerned about.
Right.
I thank the department. I thank the commander for putting me in for the award and for the recognition. It was very nice. It was a humbling experience.
Yeah.
But I didn't do anything that any one of our other officers placed in the same situation wouldn't have done.
Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you. I'm just happy to be here with you.
No, I'm happy too, considering the fact that somebody actually got shot and you were around.
Yes.
I'm glad it wasn't you, let's put it that way,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
That's for sure.
Thank
So, you know, one of the things people don't know too is that you know, like this. Well, one thing people do know who watch the show, this is definitely about as diverse a district
Yes, it is.
as there is. I mean, basically, we've got just about everything but white people around here. So,
No, we have
white
some of those,
Christians
too.
anyway. We have
Yeah,
a few,
we have some
not
of
too
those.
many.
Yeah.
Not too many, but as an example, I know the department tries, you know, if there's an Indian officer, because we have one of the largest
Sure.
Indian districts, they'll try to get him in the area, and Pakistanis, Jewish also, you know, not to mention many of the other nationalities. But the strategy, you know, I don't even know if it's still in use, but I assume it is. But the strategy, you know, like when there was worried, especially after 9/11, about maybe an attack on a synagogue, you were actually, Commander Boggs, our previous commander,
Yes.
told me that you're the one that came up with the strategy for the officers visiting the synagogues.
Well, that, along with, I shared the strategy with Rabbi Wolf.
One of the great guys, a police chaplain.
He's a terrific guy, one of my best friends. I love him like a brother. But Rabbi Wolf is our police chaplain. We brainstormed, and we came up with, I think, is a very good idea, and this was several years ago after 9/11. And we implemented it then, and we're still utilizing it today under the direction of Commander Rotner.
Yeah.
But we've initiated what we call a Shabbos car.
Okay.
And we actually have it on our worksheets. It says Shabbos car.
Yeah.
You know, it comes out every Friday, and who's assigned to it. And the thinking behind that is because during Shabbos, our Jewish community is a bit more vulnerable because of the religious constraints
Right.
that they have.
People
and
don't
not
drive
using the
or-
phone or not driving,
Yeah.
not being able to call the police or reluctant to call the police. I would imagine in an extreme emergency, I hope.
Yeah,
know,
you do,
people-
and we make a point of that at our meetings because
Yes.
we do have religious people coming.
Yes.
We make a point that
Yes, and I'm glad you do.
yeah,
by the way.
that's important.
But you know, there are still those some that are just, you know, their religion takes precedence.
Right.
And even after we had that shooting a number of years ago on July 4th.
Oh, that was July 4th. I sure remember that. Yeah, there were 7 people that were shot in this neighborhood.
We had 7 people shot, and we had witnesses that were reluctant to come into the police station because they didn't want to get into the police car.
Yeah.
You know, ultimately we convinced them that it would be the right thing to do and it would be appropriate and the religion would allow it. We had
Well, the
Rabbi
man
Wolf
was at
actually
large
help us
also.
with it, and that was on. It happened on a Saturday,
Yeah.
on Shabbos. But getting back to this Shabbos car,
Yeah.
we have a car positioned at Sacramento and Tui
Yeah.
from 8 o'clock in the morning till noon every Shabbos.
Yeah.
In case anyone of the faith has a problem, they need to communicate to the police something. You know, it's in the heart of the Jewish community, the car.
Right.
And then the car moves from 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock to Whipple and Devon. So that sometime during the day, if somebody has something they need to communicate to the police,
Yeah.
they know exactly where they're going to find a policeman.
Right. And on which is great. And on holidays too, there's 3 different cars stationed actually.
Yes, and then on the high holidays, of
Yeah.
course, we have 3 different primary locations.
Right. The other one being near KINS around North Shore
Yes,
in California.
North Shore in California, and those 2 other locations that I just mentioned. We have a car situated there all day long.
Right.
So we down 3 cars for that
Which is
reason.
terrific, and yeah, I guess we want to credit Moshe Wolf too, Rabbi Moshe Wolf,
Credit Moshe
chaplain
Wolf.
for
Sure, and
for the help with this.
credit the commander, because it's up to him how he wants to deploy his people,
Oh, that's true.
and he really does deploy them to the best benefit of the citizenry of the 24th
No
District.
question. Commander Boggs, of course, started there, and of course,
Yes.
Commander Ratner has chosen to follow through, which is great.
He picked up the ball and ran with it.
No question. And we're getting close to running out of time here. Mickey's hands are sort of going.
Oh, okay, okay. I just
On
want
the
to. I
sheet.
just want to plug
Please.
one thing before
You're my guest.
I go, and that is a movie that just came out.
Yeah.
About my family, about my mother's
Oh.
Holocaust experience.
Really?
Yes, she was. She was a Holocaust survivor.
I didn't know
33
that.
months. 33 months in Auschwitz. One of the longest living survivors
Wow.
of Auschwitz. She passed away a few years ago. So I'm sorry I can't have her meet you. And my father, and it's called Out of Faith. It has to do with interfaith marriages and among Jews.
Yeah.
And there was a personal situation in our own family where
Yeah.
we experienced 2 out-of-faith marriages, on my brother's side of the family.
Yeah.
So it's all brought out in the movie, and I think it's something that people would enjoy watching. And if they want to see trailers of it, it's outoffaith.com.
Outoffaith.com. Sounds good. I want to thank you very much.
You're very
Sergeant
welcome.
David
Thank you.
Welbel of the 24th District. Thank you so much for being here, and stick
My
around for
pleasure,
segment
Avi.
2, everybody. Thank you.
Okay, take care.